Prepare yourself for a sprawling discussion on just about anything, where critical thinking meets pop culture in a collision of mind-bending proportions. Please secure all neurons and prepare for full frontal cortex. It's time for Incoherent Ramblings.
Hello and welcome to Incoherent Ramblings, Ramble 019 or 018. You can email us at show@IamRambling.com.
Breathe.com?
Please email us. Even if you don't listen to the rest of the show, email us so we know you heard this part. I'm Joey Shamble, your host. Notice how I'm introducing myself before I say anything else.
I'm Paul Hottinger.
I'm Gail Anderson.
And I'm Daryl Jors.
And today we're going to be talking about
Access to space.
Hey, I'm the host. Daryl gives me the echo.
You know what? I give the echo to whoever I please.
Dude! Alright.
Echo 3, Echo 7.
So, okay, we're gonna do our weekly pre-ramble, which is, ask Google. Hey, Google, what is a vasectomy? Oh, vasectomy it sucks. Okay, cool. Let's move on.
Google Voice lady sounds like she aged a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Ask Google Voice doesn't work. We're not gonna do it anymore. It's stupid. It takes too long. It's Google until you get a better, freaking, faster Google system. Okay.
So what's today's episode brought to us?
Today's episode is brought to you by the Yavin Pilot Pack, which includes 3 of the pilots that fought for Yavin in Star Wars Episode 4.
And apparently Ralph's upset about this.
Also has one of the bots and one of the black guys that helped Vader out.
Of course,
he has 2 heads.
Of course, he died in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think...
Actually, they all died.
You know, I don't think black people existed in the Star Wars universe until Lando.
No, it was all Lando.
It was all
Yeah.
Lando and that one indoor rebel trooper.
Well, I guess there were black voices.
And this one guard on Bespin.
Anakin sounded like a black guy, but you know, he didn't. He really wasn't. He was only black on the outside.
No, end up.
What?
I don't know. Okay.
He's an Oreo.
So we have
sandwich between 2 black.
He's an Oreo cyborg.
So we have Mahler Mitchell, who's black too, who was on the right side or left side of Darth Vader when they were in the trench run. We also have Davish Krall, who's Gold 5, dead. Tyree, who has no last name, Gold 2, dead. And of course, the first to die, Mr. Jack Porkins.
Yeah. Porkins.
Yeah, I don't think even his chin strap couldn't fit on.
Fattest, yeah, it doesn't actually on the character. Fattest rebel soldier ever. Almost as fat as a Grimorian guard.
Porkins looks like all the
guard.
cosplay guys that.
And his droid R580.
But after he retired, he bought a cannery and then he sold Porkins beans.
That's nothing. Okay,
you're right, that was nothing.
So that's not funny.
It wasn't that either.
Okay, so that is what we're brought to today, the Yavin Pilot Pack.
This is the packaging for the series.
Oh.
Yes, they're doing
so right on schedule. You guys want to restart?
No restart. Okay. We didn't restart before.
Didn't we restart?
No, what are you talking about? This is the original.
No, of course.
You could not get the original.
Stay tuned after the outro music. I know a lot of you don't want to sit through all that shredding, but we'll have an extra few minutes there. So.
Access to space. Dude. You blocked my access to space.
Yeah. He got space blocked.
Sex joke.
So how do we start Access to Space? When did it all start?
Oh, that's a great point. Thank you, Paul. We have a history of getting into space.
Sputnik.
Yeah, Sputnik. Actually, my mom saw Sputnik when she was a little girl. It was a big thing that people were out to see it, and she saw it pass over because back then.
Well, in case some people aren't clear on their history, Sputnik itself wasn't a big thing. But it was a big ordeal or a big event.
It was a small orb with things sticking out of it. Basketball size.
It looked kind of like it was going to interrogate Leia.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
It did look very much like that.
Only it was silver.
It probably makes that sound as it circled the earth.
Wait. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Okay.
I had to.
Yes. And all those sounds actually happened in 1940.
Do you think it was just George Lucas going to the microphone?
That was us making our movies.
Like, yeah, the whole entire recording, like, in here, is like, hey guys, check this out.
It's gonna, and when it blows up, dun, 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 dun. Okay,
I was thinking if you layer enough sounds, it sounds cool after a while.
Access to space.
This guy's
Access to
going
space.
completely.
Okay,
Space.
so we started with Sputnik.
Sputnik is where we started. It was the first satellite ever put into orbit, probably in the, what was it, early 50s.
Yeah.
It might
Predicted
be good to
by
check up.
Yeah. What?
Let's
the
research
first
that.
satellite. Predicted by
Oh, I thought you said something about Dubai.
famous writer.
Dubai wasn't around. Isaac Asimov.
H.G. Wells.
Marshall Savage.
What?
H.G. Wells.
No, not H.G. Wells.
I would have gone H.U.S. Who? Tell us.
Arthur C.
Abraham
Clarke?
Lincoln.
Arthur C.
Who's
Clarke.
Abraham Lincoln?
Abraham Lincoln.
He was the vampire hunter,
That's
wasn't
right.
he?
So, we started with Sputnik, which was Russian, of course, and went up to space, and we closely followed it behind with putting a dog up there. So I don't know, what did we do first?
Well, the space race started, and it was.
That's when the
I don't know if
space
it's true,
race
but
started.
it's really out of fear of what the Russians could do. We had to beat them. We didn't want to. The United States, I don't think, wanted to be outdone by their Cold War enemy.
Yeah, that was a good point. I mean, people were scared that if they could get something. I mean, wait, this was the 50s. Yeah, nuclear bomb and everything. They were scared that they were just going to be able to have a satellite go over us and drop a bomb. And so, that fear really maybe started the space age a little too early. You know how we talk about how things start up and it's not their time, like virtual reality and other things, and maybe that's kind of what happened with the space race. It was fueled by fear, but it did get us into space and beyond.
And beyond.
My echo! Daryl, don't you dare give them an echo!
Low Earth orbit
Echo,
on
echo,
4th October 1957.
1957.
Late 50s.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
Wow, that was fast.
Anyway, I wasn't prepared for like going through a whole history of.
Well, not
Space
too
travel.
much.
Well, that's
Whatever
your
we
bad.
want to talk about.
Well,
Maybe we
we're
can
just
say-
rambling.
Look, we'll put like a wiki link on the show notes so that if you want to investigate the history of space travel,
Like the
Yeah,
Apollo
that is-
missions.
that's all we're gonna wind up doing at this point. Is like,
Well, let's rush through it because it is my first.
Well, okay, the Apollo missions that followed. The most important one is the Creed mission, and he's the one who fought Rocky in Rocky 2.
Okay.
That's good.
What about the Superman mission?
Yeah, that was, I
Flying to
don't
the
know, that was
sun.
Artemis, and that was the Russian-U.S. Joint mission to the moon.
Okay,
Superman 4.
we're conflating
The Quest for Peace.
We're conflating our fiction again. I think
So,
What?
fact and fiction.
Wait, Quest for Peace, yes.
yeah, so
Collected all the...
Warheads.
So after we made it to the moon, which by the way was
You're blocking
2
your mic.
days, I think 2 days, July 19th, my parents got married like the day before or 2 days before, something like that.
Oh wow!
I think when they launched was when they were getting married. But anyway,
Did they put a little Sputnik on their wedding cake?
no, because Sputnik was not what I'm talking about, the moon.
Oh, the
Apollo.
moon! Oh, my mistake.
So they went to the
So
moon.
they
You
put a
know,
moon
the
on
Russians went to the moon too. You don't really.
With the
We beat them there.
rover, with the
Yeah,
rover.
I don't think anybody landed there.
But
Maybe they did. Check the show notes. And so after that was pretty much a drought, because I can't think of the other word, of space travel. Nothing much happens. Like, we made it to the moon,
It's very
woo,
stagnant.
and we're done.
stagnant.
And so
Stagnant.
let's
There was a
let's
dirt-
make a bus. Let's make a bus and put it in space every
Well-
once in a while. The shuttle.
I'm getting
the
there.
bus
That's
shuttle.
C.
Okay.
Yeah,
There was a big
until the
drought
shuttle
as
bus,
the
yeah.
War.
But no, there was like nothing going on in the
Let's put a
70s. We went to the
coaster in
moon.
space.
We went to the great space coaster. Okay, we went to the moon. We went a few times, and everyone was bored, so we stopped.
Right.
Woohoo! And then we had the space shuttle, and now that's our generation. I remember the space shuttle being built when we were kids. And,
it's a renewable vehicle.
and then
so they
vehicle.
said.
And then
until those two blew up.
Rebuilt from the ground up every time it flew.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And
what's a tile?
And of course, then Challenger, and then after that blew up, and there was no space travel for a while, and then followed by
Discovery?
Columbia also came on re-entry, was destroyed, and so that kind of ended a lot of manned space travel, at least in the forefront. And I think the 90s and
that's
through
when
now,
they started planning for the robotics.
Yeah, there's been a lot of success.
They said, why be out there?
Yeah, and there has been a lot of success, especially the stuff going to Mars. I mean, we've had rovers on Mars, and but it's still all mostly been government.
My point of view on the robotics stuff is that a lot of it is just about the will of the people. When it was about the Cold War and the race with the space race with Russia, we were willing to basically start new industries to make the space age happen. And the country was behind it. It was like almost like the war effort in World War II. It wasn't quite to that level where you had to ration everything, but there was definitely this big push to put technology in the forefront. Since then, we're a little less likely to say, it's going to cost so much money to put a rover in space versus, say, like 10 times as much to put a person on Mars, for example. And that kind of thing is just, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of will there for people to get behind it and put a huge portion of the gross national product into achieving that goal.
Well, it's
background noise is brought to you by Ralph.
It's also having the reason for people to be behind it. Is there needs to be, like, what's the end game? Why are people going to put their tax dollars towards this during the space race? It was, we were talking about fear. So we're going.
So what you're saying is we need a reason.
We need a reason. Before there was a reason to be protected. We had to beat the Russians because we had to be better than them. Because if they're better than us, then they have they can kill us.
And the space shuttle, I think, when it was a great idea, and for when it started, and then I think it started to get a little boring. Same reason. There wasn't a reason behind it. And so what ended up happening was the space station, I think, was what the government created to be the reason. And pretty much the space shuttle held on long enough to finish the space station. Yes, Ralph?
They are actually trying to make a new space shuttle for cargo and men. I saw it recently in the news. I don't want to date you, but...
They're funding studies, but they're not funding any. They're not funding anything to happen.
They want to put it on top of a rocket. It's much smaller.
Yeah, but private rocket.
Here's the thing,
that's where the reason's going to be. We're going to get it is private industries that could make money off of it.
So maybe we should talk about the privatization of space. Oh crap! Okay, we won't.
Can we segue
what
to?
were you going to say?
Go to the space elevator. Okay.
No,
Gerald doesn't want to talk about the privatization of space today.
No, I do.
Okay.
But if NASA had a plan that made sense, they would have begun developing something a decade ahead of retiring the shuttle. So that's why NASA is empty-handed.
Well,
even if they're starting now with serious design specs, there's going to be 5 to 10 years before they can launch.
Well, that's the way
something.
government budgets work.
And I think, but
it's fiscal. It's year to year.
That's the whole point. That's the problem with government being in charge of space. It had to before because it had the resources. But
you know what I think we should do now? Talk about the privatization of space.
Thank you, Darren.
You're welcome.
But before that, let me finish what I was going to say about government.
Okay, go for it.
Is that the problem with government is that because... They found me.
Because they're coming to get you?
Run for it, Marty! No, because the privatization... Oh, God damn it. Okay, so the government needs a reason behind it because... if there's not a reason, then government can't. It's got to be for the people as a whole. Don't you dare talk into that. Get away from that speaker. It's got to be for. It's got to be for the.
I won't be able to be here today anymore.
The government.
Oh, that's why you're doing it.
The government is.
Go ahead, say government one more time.
I can't.
No, what about the government?
The government is here for the people.
All right.
And if there's no reason for the government to be helping the people,
they don't do it.
They don't do it, or they don't do it well.
It's hard to fund space when you have like 2 wars going on.
Yeah, and everyone's always going to say there's something more important than space. Always. Unless there's something going on that makes space more important. I think that's the problem with the 70s and even in the 80s and 90s and to today, is just that it's just been for science, which is enough to get a little bit along the way, but I think capitalism is really where it's at for the future of space.
Well, if you think about like the movie Armageddon is kind of like NASA's wet dream in a way, because it's like, oh, there's a giant asteroid going to come kill us all. Look, we got to fund a new space program.
Exactly.
Let's go for it.
And also, if you think about in the 80s and stuff, in the engineers and the scientists at that time,
okay then,
they grew up watching Star Trek.
Yeah,
the original series. So that was inspiration of them going into NASA or JPL or whatever. We don't have that right now. We don't have the inspiration for our young students to get into the space program. It's like, why go out into space? What's out there right now?
Well, one of the things that could
there's
do
no
it
excitement like it was before.
We talked about in a previous episode about the warp drive. Mm-hmm. And how they're now doing feasibility studies so that we can find out whether or not we can actually make one. And I'll tell you, if they find out that they can create a warp field, it will totally invigorate the idea, because everybody will want to build the Enterprise.
Yeah. Well, sci-fi didn't go away. So I think if you talk with a lot of people that are involved in the private space programs and everything, I think most of them are probably... They got the first ideas that they wanted to become engineers for rocketry instead of rocket scientists. They just probably got that inspiration reading Isaac Asimov and whatever else.
Connecting more to a few weeks ago with the geeks and nerd thing. I mean, I think if you think about it now, it's becoming more popular to become a nerd or geek, which includes science fiction in a lot of it. So it's very possible that the kids today who are growing up thinking being a nerd or a geek cool are making science fiction more cool, and in 10, 20 years, those are going to be the scientists, and so we're going to see a lot more going on then, especially as the technology improves. So we could see a huge jump in space exploration, huge jump in access to space in the next 10 years or so.
So what was the inspiration for, like, SpaceX, for them to get started?
Well, he was... isn't that Elon Musk?
Mr. SpaceX?
Isn't it Elon Musk?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know until recently that their building was Hammer Industries in Iron Man 2.
Was it really?
Yes, it was on the DVD on TV. I was watching Iron Man on TNT or whatever channel it is.
And they modeled Stark after Elon Musk.
But the building, Hammer Industries, is the SpaceX building.
Okay. It would be cool to get a tour there.
Well, he said that he wanted to create... because he wants to go to Mars ultimately, and so he wanted to create something that would feasibly make money and create a space privatization.
Hard to say, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And then get us to Mars eventually. So this was his way of doing that, and he's provided now ways. He's providing the shots to the International Space Station.
Would you say he was the first who really privatized space?
Well, there was like 4 different groups of people who were trying to do that.
I mean, obviously Virgin Galactic, but before we get to that, I mean, what was the beginnings of SpaceX? Was it because he had money originally, or was it like a venture?
Well, yeah, he wanted, after he did the Tesla, after he built the Tesla, he wanted a new challenge. And
wait, what was the Tesla?
The Tesla electric car.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the guy.
Yeah.
Didn't he, where did he get his money from?
It's the guy.
And he originally got it from...
some company.
Was it Amazon.com or was it eBay?
eBay, I think.
Was it eBay? It was one of those types.
Yeah. I think it was eBay.
Yeah, it's a... I can't think of his name right now. It's a different guy that runs Amazon. He's still head of it.
Jeff Bezos.
Right, Bezos.
Right.
Okay.
So it was eBay.
So
my brain's not working tonight.
When we went to the thing in New Mexico, that was the X Prize. SpaceX was there?
SpaceX was there.
Right. Weren't they the ones who won something?
No, they didn't actually win anything. But all they had there were their models and their idea of what they
we went to their
booth, and we took pictures of their models.
Right.
And
who was the video game guy who was making the moon?
Yeah, Amarillo Space.
The guy who created Doom, right?
Right.
Yeah. How's he doing?
John Carmack?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah, he
See, I remembered a name.
Yay!
So we got to look that up. Daryl, can you look that up real quick? See if he's still
Amarillo
doing
Space
stuff.
he was working on like the moon lander
Because
thing.
it was really cool.
Right.
It like took off.
And I think he's still doing it.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I haven't heard anything about
He's
him.
becoming more practical in. I think he's going to be working with other people to make his space ideas come about.
When you're working there, like at SpaceX, are you considered an X-Men? Okay.
I don't think so.
So,
Anyone think SpaceX sounds like you're saying a space sex?
SpaceX.
yeah, just you.
They just,
Space.
yeah.
What is
They did that on
SpaceX
purpose,
doing
that's right.
right now? I mean, I know they're doing a lot. They made the last thing that went up to the space station, right?
Their rockets are now supplying the space station.
I don't know if Amarillo Space is still around. When you Google it, you see a lot of things that say Amarillo Retail Space. Looks
Office space. There you go.
Isn't that a city in Texas?
Yes, Amarillo.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're still.
What if you look up
Who knows if
Amarillo
they're
Space
still around?
Program?
Well, look up Doom
That
and see what he's
program
doing.
with
Look up the guy and see what he's doing.
Right, I'll look up the guy.
Okay, so that's SpaceX. So they've done really well. I think they've hired tons of people from NASA because they're not at NASA.
John Carjack.
We don't need to know.
We don't need to narrate that, Daryl, while we're...
Yeah.
So apparently, they've hired a lot of the guys from NASA who are now working for SpaceX. So it's almost like NASA's become SpaceX. It's almost in a way NASA has privatized itself to SpaceX.
Armadillo.
Aerospace. There you go.
Okay.
In some future episode, we'll edit this all down. So we'll take out all the stuff that doesn't meet the theme, and we'll have one podcast that's all about what we're talking about, and then we'll take all the other stuff and put it together without any of the theme and see what it sounds like.
It'll sound like our rambling ramblings.
Yeah, pretty much.
Random
ramblings. Right.
Okay, so space. It's really cool that SpaceX is kind of taken NASA and made it private. So now there's a reason to actually get into space, and hopefully that will become something they can make money off. They're not looking into space tourism, are they?
Well,
or are they just working
eventually,
on,
yes.
Yeah.
What they want to do is they want to create like a space hotel type thing where you can go up there, spend a couple of days, and come back. That's what they ultimately.
I think that's what's going to really fund space
for the time being. But he wants to go to Mars,
right?
And that's what he really wants.
Have you guys heard of Planetary Resources Incorporated?
No.
They want to start a program to mine asteroids.
That's smart thinking. That's another thing. I was wondering when they start doing that.
Well, they're not going to start for a while, but they're getting funding and venture capital and all that stuff.
Starting to try to figure out how things are going to happen.
Right.
I think it's going to go.
If they screw it up and they kind of push the asteroid towards us a little bit.
I think
that wouldn't be good.
I think
then you know what though? Who better to fix the problem?
That's right.
They have like two unconnected companies. And like, we better call that other company.
Yeah.
They can help out. No, I think
I'm a little leery of
Get
them
the
bringing
drills.
asteroids into our orbit.
Yeah.
To mine them. Let's let them mine them a little farther away.
Knock the moon by accident.
So space. I think it's going to start with space tourism. That's going to make the initial money, and I think it will generally then have to move into getting minerals because there's too much up there that we would want to get.
Right.
So.
Moving on to
to Virgin Atlantic, I think is the next place we want. Galactic. I'm sorry.
Right.
Coming from, I think that's the coolest thing that this guy took his regular, Virgin Atlantic and made it galactic. That's cool.
Yep.
That's like
Richard Branson, right?
Richard Branson funding it, and Burt Rutan, of course, was the guy who did the X Prize, won it, and was funded by. Another wealthy guy from the .com, Paul Allen. Paul Allen and funded him, and also Richard Branson toward the end funded him so that he was able to win the X Prize.
Yeah, and what was that about?
Also made Chuck E. Cheese's, by the way. Or maybe that was Nolan Bushnell.
That's unfortunate.
Never mind.
Paul Allen was Microsoft.
That's unfortunate.
Paul Allen was Microsoft.
That was almost 10 years ago. Was it 10 years ago? Something like that. Maybe a little less.
It's been a while now.
No, it must be at least 10 years ago. And because Kayla and I were following it pretty closely at the time. And for those of you who don't know, the first private spaceship ever created is called Spaceship One by these people who won the X Prize because they were the first.
Scaled Composites.
They were Scaled Composites because they were the first to get a spaceship that is not funded by the government into orbit. And so, of course, and they've taken that technology to Virgin Galactic. And so, what's the update on them? They've got Spaceship Two, which
they are now starting the tests of the engines for Spaceship Two, the actual one that will take people up into space. And I think that they're hoping by the end of this year to actually have their first flight. And
so we're hoping that space tourism will be much like flat screen TVs, where at first everyone's like, "Well, I got the money, I want to go to space."
Yeah, now you have to pay $200,000 or $250,000.
That's not bad because isn't $6 million now? Like if you want to go and rush into space.
Actually, Lance Bass, didn't he pay $30 million to go up to the space station?
Did he end up going?
Lance Bass
he did.
paid $30 million?
Yeah, the guy from Insane.
Didn't he end up not going?
No, he went.
Oh, he did go. Okay.
He did go. He's an astronaut. Lance Bass.
Didn't Timberlake go also?
No.
At some point? Oh, okay.
No.
And yeah, it was millions of dollars. Now with
you have a coupon or something?
You need a Groupon. 50% off your space travel.
There will be Groupons, and it's going to be, it'll be 200,000 now, and in 10 years, 20,000.
There was something about a drawing. He's going to have certain number of drawings so that people will be able, who couldn't afford it can go up for free. But eventually, their plan is to have like 6 of these spaceships. They're going to have.
I bet I know what we'll call
3 of the White Knights, the ones that take them up into the higher atmosphere, the planes, and then they launch. There's going to be 6.
Yes, 6
not Iron Man. What the hell am I doing there?
Of the rockets.
Of the rockets that will be rotating in.
For those who don't know,
how does it launch?
Yeah, for those who don't know, basically a plane which carries a rocket underneath it, which is the spaceship, goes up into high altitude like any plane could, except it's very high altitude. And then when it gets there, it launches the rocket with very minimum fuel consumption needs because you're not taking off from the ground.
Coming from? Oh, seriously? we can hear that.
We can hear that, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can hear your music. I'd like to listen to girly music.
Girly music.
Maybe it's coming out of your nose through your ears. Anyway, yes.
So space, Virgin Galactic will be up there soon. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, and
people will be doing it for honeymoons. They'll be doing it for...
It'll get down to like $50,000 and then...
And I think less. I think give
eventually.
it 10, 15 years, you'll be able to do it for maybe like 20,000, 10,000, maybe less. But it will be the boring thing because at that time they'll have space hotels. And you want to pay any $50,000, you're going to go stay up in space for a few days.
I'm going to be a little bit of a naysayer on how fast it's going to get
less expensive. Not you.
Yes, me.
Nay.
Nay, say.
It is getting
Just
less
say
expensive.
nay.
But there's going to be a point of diminishing returns because the energy cost of getting into space, no matter what, is pretty extreme.
That's when we will talk about space elevators. But go ahead.
Wait.
Well, okay, that's true. Like if you have a physical structure, that's a different story altogether. But as far as launching a vehicle into space, there's always going to be a pretty high energy cost.
Kind of curious about that. We should look that up. We'll check the show notes. But it'd be interesting to know how much it costs them. Without profit, just flat.
Well, it was the space shuttle was like $10,000 a pound.
Yeah, but I want to know. But I want to know for Spaceship One because it's so much more efficient. I mean,
what part of the equation about why it's so much more efficient to go high altitude flight first, then launch the rocket is that part of rocketry equations have to take into account the weight of the fuel and launching from a dead stop. Just to get your rocket off the ground, you already have to expend quite a sum of fuel just to get movement happening. Yeah. And the more fuel you're weighted down with, the more fuel you burn just to get off the ground. And so, there are a lot of equations about that just kind of, if your launch vehicle has to have all of the fuel on board to launch from a dead stop, it's...
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
That's why the White Knight system with the Spaceship One works so well.
Well, that's why I'm curious if it's that expensive. Could it get down to, because you're saying it's energy cost.
Well, look at it. Okay, you say 200, let's say optimistically, $200,000 to go on Spaceship One.
I want to know how much.
And say that's a normal, like, 200-pound person So you divide that.
Well, but that's retail cost. That's what I'm saying. Is how much are let's say in 10 years, how much is Virgin Galactic gonna have to pay to get Spaceship One up there? It's gonna go less and less and less.
Yeah.
I'm curious now how much it is, but once they've made their return on all their investments, it's going to get to a point where it's just the fuel and the maintenance on the and so I'm curious about what that number is.
They have the infrastructure set up in the hotel.
Because I don't think it's too expensive.
One of the things they will be able to do once there's a space hotel or an elevator is that because those Spaceship Ones or twos, whatever they are, can actually go out into space farther than they're planning now. But the problem is they can't get back in. So if they can go to a space station,
they can't.
No, not if they go farther than they are.
Really?
Because it's like 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes of space time.
Right. But if they go further, why can't they come back?
Well, the reason is because they don't have the fuel.
Do they have to just drop? Well, I guess to steer and maneuver.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, with their shuttlecock descent, I know that's a wonderful word, right? Yeah. But that's what they're using. Essentially, is the
it actually is a shuttlecock,
right? And as they spiral down, there's an ingenious system so that they don't have to burn to re-enter. But
I hate it when it burns when you re-enter.
That's not good.
That is the worst. And it's not a good sign. If that happens, you need to
see your doctor.
Yeah. So, but what's this thing? You're talking about elevators to space? Surely you must be jesting.
No. Not at all.
Do you have to stop at every floor on the way up, though?
Yeah, some dick's gonna hit all the buttons. In there.
Well, it's actually going to take like 3 or 4 days going at like 200 miles an hour to get actually up to space.
Yeah.
But
okay, would it be?
It's going to cost like 20 pounds.
That'd be 3 days of standing there not wanting to talk to anybody because you don't talk in an elevator.
That'll totally redefine that whole give your elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Well, when I was born.
No, and then it's all. Oh, I gotta hold this one the whole way.
Yeah. Oh God, the music!
Music would be horrible.
People are gonna be shooting themselves in the head.
And for those of you out there,
the longest Yanni song I've ever heard.
Probably one of the reasons why space elevators are regarded by people who are not in the know as absurd is because it's called a space elevator. That was probably a bad choice because even though that's what it is, it's on such a huge scale. It's more of a vehicle tethered to something that
You just
it goes out to
space. The vehicle climbs up this tether.
I think it's even better to look at it as not climbing up, but almost climbing out. You know, because we're thinking gravity-wise. But because
you get to a certain point, and then it actually you're just falling.
Yeah.
So it
for those who don't know about the space, it is very viable, very possible. We've been following it for a while, and it's gone from. When we would talk to people about a space elevator 10-something years ago, they'd go be like, what? That's so crazy. To actually, you're hearing more and more about it, and people who are in the know, who know astronomy or space travel, are realizing that it's going to be one of the next steps to...
Well, there are manufacturing...
You got into my echo there, buddy.
Issues. And again?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm running out of room.
Nanotechnology.
All right, where was this? 43.
Right. And it's carbon
nanotubes again.
Yeah, carbon nanotubes.
They're going to save everybody.
And the thing is that recently they just moved up. I wish I knew the terms, but it's like to make it viable, it needs to be like at least 75, and they're at 50 now. But they just made a jump. See, it's like
dollars
percent.
It's like the ability
Humps of cheese.
PSI, I don't know. It's something to do with, they've speculated that carbon nanotubes...
I'm going to put this in the show notes under carbon nanotubes, and you can make a link to it, and people can look up.
It's probably tensile strength, I would guess.
Yeah, thank you. That's it.
Well, there it is. Don't look at the show notes anymore. Dude. I'm out of a job.
And they are now able to make it at 75.
Okay.
And
strengths of tensile.
Tensile strengths.
That's that crappy right?
The reason why the nanotechnology comes into play is that you need to have an extremely rigid structure that's also very light. It's another one of those equations that's similar to the rocket fuel.
What needs to be rigid?
The elevator,
the shuttlecock
platform itself.
No, the you're talking about the ribbon.
Yeah.
The ribbon that goes up?
Yeah.
No, it moves.
Well, but I mean, it has
No,
to
I think
be,
not rigid, strong.
It has to be strong. Then.
Incredibly
not
strong.
rigid. It's got to be extremely strong
and thin.
Have
But
great
there's also a
tensile
scaffold,
strength.
though, isn't there? Besides just the ribbon.
No, I think it
just the ribbon.
And the
it's like a
ribbon is-
tractor thing that goes up the sides of the.
Okay.
So
It just climbs. That's
for those
why
of
it's
you,
so viable.
yeah, for those of you at home, if you can picture a ribbon like that would be on a present. You know how they have those thick ribbons.
And this will be in the show notes.
The ribbon from
Brainstorm.
Brainstorm, yeah, perfect example. You take the ribbon from Brainstorm to decorative tape for Christmas presents.
How come I went there before you even said?
Yeah, I know. And that's basically connected to like two tracks, a track on each side, and it rolls up the ribbon. And that's kind of how the elevator works. So it's not.
Yeah, so it just
And,
climbs.
It climbs the ribbon, basically.
So ideally,
it's
it won't-
only an elevator because it goes up. It's not
Yeah,
like
so
an
the
elevator at
thing
all.
is,
And the thing
it's
is-
a strength to weight ratio problem,
Right,
Because
and-
the if it's not strong enough, obviously it collapses, and then the heavier it is, the stronger it has to be.
Right.
So you have to get the weight.
And that's why.
And apparently the
Correct.
equations have been done that it's very possible. It's just they
Right.
know how to do it. It
It's
just
just
doesn't exist yet.
It's just
The material.
learning how to manufacture
Right, you
the
can't
carbon
manufacture it
nanotubes.
at scale.
Yeah.
No, you can't
Yeah.
yet,
Not
but
yet.
they're getting really good at making longer and wider ribbons.
Hey, from
So-
last week. That's what she said. Oh, longer and wider. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Anyway, one of the things that's
Sorry.
going to bring down the
Tensile
weight
strength.
is that they're planning to actually use a laser to power
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
the crawlers that will go
Or
up.
the crawler itself isn't super heavy.
Right,
It doesn't
right.
need to have an internal.
It uses a
power
laser
source.
to push it.
Well, there's another. You see, that might be another way where like a space travel program could become less expensive if they're able to power whatever spacecraft you're on remotely using a laser.
It would be cool if they
Then
put,
you don't have to have all this heavy fuel.
let's say you just launched something up and had like a big chunk of, I don't know, ice on the back, and then you focused all these
Like a
lasers on it.
Bifrost?
So we could call it the Bifrost Bridge. That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
The only part that was a little hokey.
Yep.
In the First Millennial
Marshall
Foundation.
Savage.
Whenever we told people about that on the
Don't
First
forget the
Millennial
T.
Foundation,
Marshall T.
they'd be
Savage.
like, I'm not going on that thing. So, yeah, the space elevator is going to be very cool. So,
And
They have
the
to
thing-
kind of presume
but
that the ice caps aren't going to melt before they make Bifrost.
But what
true.
they're going to build first is the lunar space elevator.
that's right. That's
Which is going to bring the cost of putting things down on the moon and bringing them back a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
And
See, I think that's more viable because I think it'll be.
that's why they're concentrating on, because it actually doesn't take as much tensile
But
strength.
Yeah.
as bringing one
hold
from
on a
the
second,
Earth.
The moon's not geosynchronous, though.
It doesn't have to.
So, well, how would the bridge connect?
no.
It's not. It's
No,
okay.
no,
It's
no,
it's in the orbit of the moon.
It's to
So you
get
can
back and
past-
forth from the moon easy.
Yeah.
From orbit of the moon to the moon.
So it won't be.
Yeah.
It won't be a ribbon attached, which
not
would
from
be kind
Earth to the moon.
That'd be kind of weird. From the Earth to the moon. Oh, a moon that I don't even.
It's just
What?
it's just the moon.
Okay, if you're
right?
confused and people out there are confused, basically what they're saying is space elevator, the ribbon which would come from the surface of the moon up to the space.
Something
I'm glad I was able to clear that up for
Something
everybody.
close to Earth's.
Farther out where the moon's gravity will be negligible.
So you could take this elevator from the surface of the moon up to a space station waiting above the moon to a
Right.
spaceship, which you could then take to Earth. And if we had
Or
one
the
here,
Earth-
to another
or the
space
Earth
station,
elevator.
to the Earth elevator, and then
got
keep it down. Yeah.
All right.
So there may, and
it's
it's
an elevator
when they get
system.
that one up and running, which by the way is they did a Kickstarter where they got hundreds of thousands of dollars to move it forward. So they're
That's
actually I participated in that Kickstarter, and so it's really going to be. It'll actually, I think, happen this time, as opposed to when they were trying just to build the one from the Earth up to.
See, I'd be
60
worried about
miles
on
up.
the Earth and just the
Elevator
safety
to
factor
the
of it,
moon.
of it
Let me
being
play.
attacked,
Well, see, that's
being
when
destroyed.
when they were talking like in Red Mars.
I was about to say Red Mars.
When they
That
talked
was
about
such an
that,
awesome scene in that
because they
book.
were doing like beanpole type things
Yeah.
where they had massive structures, and so when
When
they
that
were
thing fell,
attacked,
oh, man.
it was destructive. But the ribbon is so light, and it actually
Yeah.
will flutter as it comes down, and it will burn up. It's not going to be a danger.
No,
to
I think the
anybody.
danger of it being destroyed. Not the danger
Oh.
of the falling debris and stuff, but it's like of it being just easily destroyed.
Well,
it's true. What happens if it gets hit by one of the millions of little space debris particles we have floating
see,
around?
and that actually, in one of the books that I read about it, they were accounting for that and how strong it would need
Probably
to
have to
be,
shield it at
and how often it would have to be. They'd have crawlers that would actually go up it and check the ribbon as it goes up to make sure that it's still good, and where it's not, to patch it.
It would suck if you got stuck in the middle of it.
Well, that's what you're saying. It would take like 3 days to get up there. I mean, you have to have a pretty comfortable
if they're
rooms in there.
At first, I think that it's just going to be cargo for maybe a year or
They'll
so.
put you in cryo
Although they may
sleep.
do one where
For 3 days.
Yeah.
What is
one
it?
person going up
Last time I
just
remember
to
was
prove
Monday.
that somebody did it.
What day is it?
Is it Saturday? Oh, I missed Dancing with the Stars.
Come up with someone. Go. Tell me, what day is it? Saturday? That's not possible.
No, it's like, what day is it? Saturday. What year?
It's the same year, dude.
2013. Oh, thank goodness.
But
I thought I saw 8 people running around.
what I think will be cool is maybe not the first space elevator, but they're going to start making more and more of them as they're feasible. Is that then we will be able to build like an Enterprise in a space dock, because it'll cost like $20 per pound to bring something up to space, and so they can bring everything up and build it in space.
Right.
So I think that our access to space really, to make it really happen, I think it's going to need the space elevator to be real.
How many some interesting? Oh, God darn it! This always happens.
Go ahead.
Okay, I've heard about some interesting things. Speaking of, like, say, going to the moon and getting things started there, you don't always have to bring everything up with you, because I've heard about some interesting ideas about accreting the. The dusty soil.
The regolith.
Yeah, regolith.
Yep.
So, why does that sound like something from a role playing?
And also, they on the moon.
The Knights of Regolith.
I was thinking from like a 70s.
What is it
Regular one
that they're gonna use? There's something. I should have been more prepared. Something on the moon that they can actually use as fuel.
Yes, I've heard that
and
too.
So they'll be able to like make a nuclear reactor with this stuff, using it as fuel. And I can't remember what it is, but it will be in the show notes.
Do you say nuclear Bush style?
Bush style.
Yeah, say it again.
Nuclear.
Yeah, you say it Bush style.
Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Oh,
it's
you
okay.
say it is Bush. It's okay. They're both right.
Yeah,
it's just
nuclear.
Yeah,
that's okay.
It's probably a California thing to say nuclear, because we all say nuclear, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Nuclear.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just some hick from Utah. Damn Mormons! I can't even say nuclear right.
From North Dakota.
I mean nuclear. Oh, damn it.
All right, on the Earth side.
At least you got my state right.
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Booger from his Florida, Texas panhandle.
Isn't he from Montana? I thought he's in Spain.
Is that racist?
No.
Say because he's brown? Wait, that's Mexican.
I didn't say he's Mexican.
You saying he's Mexican? That's racist. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. So
Actually,
on the
that's
Earth side,
truthist.
where would they build the space elevator? Where would it start?
Well, I think that.
Or where can they build it?
Well, I think that what they want to do is build it along the equator, because that's where it's shortest access to space, actually.
So because they need to get a place where they get basically government okay to build it, to get out into.
Not if you're on an island.
Well, the thing is that it's going to be like it's like those oil derricks. They bring them out. They're planning to use an old oil derrick as their connecting space. It'll go out. It'll sink itself. It'll be stable, and then.
So it'll be an international.
Do you know any of the companies that are actively working towards that right now?
Toward
making a space elevator. This is the one you said about the. Got the money from that place.
It was Liftport.
Liftport, that was it, yeah.
And they're the ones who are now changed their focus to the moon.
Got it.
And making an elevator to the moon.
Liftport,
How will they get their stuff? Are they going to partner with somebody to get their stuff to the moon?
Actually, they're partnering with lots of different companies, especially the people who are researching the carbon nanotubes, because that's the big major stumbling block. Because they've done crawlers, and Joey and I went to a bunch of space elevator competitions where somebody eventually won, making their crawler climb 5 meters per second.
Yeah, and watching the crawlers climb was a great competition to watch because you're like racing and will it make it. Yeah. The one that was really boring was the tensile strength competition, where it's just this machine.
Yeah, it pulls on.
And it pulls on, but you can't tell it's pulling on it.
And then
it breaks.
And then eventually,
everybody goes,
yeah. Remember the one group that had the solar thing, or was reflecting had all those mirrors and was reflecting up against to make the solar.
Were they trying to do the Archimedes death ray?
Well, no, but that's kind of what it was like. Actually, they had like a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, they had like
mirrors,
30 people out
with
there
mirrors focusing to the solar pads
and
as it moved, and it worked. It did go.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We would have had video on our phone, but that was before video on our phone really worked, so we just got pictures.
We had a bunch of pictures.
That was cool back then. Yeah. I was like, I took a picture of my phone! Yeah!
And we actually volunteered at the first space elevator games. We actually we were volunteers helping people in and out of the venue.
So I think we can safely say that the elevator is technology that's waiting on material sciences to catch up.
Yeah, to really catch up. Although, like I said, they made that big jump in 25... tensile strength. I wish it'll be in the show notes.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. What do they need to get to?
What?
What do they need to get to? With 75?
Just 75 really is what they want to do, but they can do the moon one with 50 and that's what we actually have now.
Because the moon's gravity
is 1/6.
1/6. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's why. So go ahead.
So how will this help us? That's another thing that will help us get in space. I'm trying to segue to Lagrange points. I'm thinking like Bellatrix Lagrange. What was the other Lagrange thing you said? Something about I mean, God, the people come in and scare the crap out of me.
So anyway,
Logan's here.
Yeah, we
Logan's
have
heroes.
The thing is once we get access to space through any of these different means, that we'll be able to build space stations in the Lagrange points, where they will be able to just stay there, and people will be able to go to the
What's
space
a Lagrange?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that?
That's where ZZ Top plays their
ZZ Top
concerts.
It was funnier the first time we were recording.
Because this was totally set up.
All right, so
the first time.
Okay, so
exactly.
Trust us. So Lagrange points, what are they?
Lagrange points are...
Okay, that was pretty good.
Our places.
I want to know more about the how of the Lagrange points.
Where they're actual points where there is no gravitational pull, and so they're neutral. You can put something there, and it will stay there. It won't fall toward Earth. It won't fall toward the moon. It won't drift off anywhere. It will stay there because the gravity around it is exactly proportional to where it needs to be to keep things right there.
Is that geosynchronous orbit?
Is that what Jesus would do?
No, geosynchronous orbit is where they're going to put at the end of a space elevator, where it's the same place as it goes
follows
around
the Earth's rotation.
Right, where this
Lagrange
it's like here's the Earth, here's a Lagrange point, and it just stays there.
So the Earth circles around here, and it's just like ooh.
Oh, okay, so it's not moving, but the Earth is moving under it.
But it stays in orbit around the Earth.
No, it doesn't move.
Or no, it stays connected to the Earth.
It stays where it is.
Right.
All right.
Because of the gravitational point.
Right.
Frame of reference: if you have a point in the center of the Earth and a Lagrange point, they don't move relative to one another.
Ah, there we go.
The Earth sits there rotating.
Okay.
The center.
Excellent. Very good. Okay,
exactly.
that was well done, Daryl.
And I think there are 4 or 5 Lagrange points.
If you want to go.
How big are they? That's
no. That's what she said. They got a lot of.
It's got to be big enough to actually.
Yeah. What if this thing's like this, just like 2 feet? I mean,
that would be a bad one.
Put a guy there.
No. I can't remember O'Neill. I can't remember his first name, but he's the guy who planned all these different space stations, drew them up, and he's the one who kind of made up these large space stations that would be in a Lagrange point that would spin and create their own gravity, so people could actually live there.
So, is anybody looking into that now, or is that just something for the future?
That's something for the future, really, because they know it's there, they know it works, and they know they can put something there. We just need to make the launching up.
You know what you were talking about with that spin creating gravity thing?
Yeah.
You know what's the interesting thing that you normally don't think about, because they don't really portray it in the movies, even as accurate as 2001 is. They don't really portray it. You have to have accelerating spin in order to create an artificial gravity.
Yeah, it's like spinning a bucket around, where you spin a bucket around your head with water in it, and the water stays against the bottom of the bucket.
Right, but you need to
That's
have...
exactly what it is.
You need to have acceleration, though, I understand, to keep it going.
Well, no, you just have to make sure that it is rotating at a constant
Well, that's something we can look up.
Now, once we get something at Lagrange point, if we get like a ball thing or something and we build a space station and it looks like a moon.
I'm sorry.
You can say that's no moon. It's a space station.
Wait. I'm going to clear up the thing I was talking about because for spinning you don't need acceleration. It's if you're doing space travel and you want artificial gravity while traveling, you have to be accelerating. That's what
right. Yeah. Well, you did the Einstein accelerating thing. Yeah. I was just wondering how they discovered it. They probably discovered Lagrange points, with mathematics and everything. But I think it would be funnier if it was when one of the space shuttles is flying.
It just stops.
It just stops, and everybody's like, "Where are we? What the hell? We're just here." Well, here I am.
It's like a Bermuda Triangle.
Well, I think that and I'm sure we'll show it in the show notes, but I think they probably fired something out to that point and showed that it worked.
How do we know the grade? How do we know the grades? Bob's still up there.
Yeah,
we're still working on getting it down. But what? Who? Bob Lagrange. That's what we called it.
They wrote a song about it. ZZ Top.
Okay, yeah. So ZZ Top has a. Is it based on Lagrange points or something completely?
No, Lagrange is a place in the
on space.
On the Earth.
Lloyd, it's on the Earth now. This is so. That would be weird. Walking along. Crap, I can't move. I'm in a Lagrange point.
I think it's Lagrange, Texas, actually.
Well, I'm not going there.
That'd be like the Animatrix.
Yeah, once you go there, you're stuck there forever.
remember that segment in the Animatrix where there's that gravitational anomaly?
I don't remember that one. I have seen it in all of them, but I don't remember.
That was the best segment, I thought.
Well, I can't remember that.
Kids are just it's like this part of town.
It was like a haunted house.
Kind of like...
Yeah, and there was some weird stuff. They said it was haunted, but it was because the Matrix was all screwed up there.
Right.
Yeah. Because they could... Oh, that's right. Because they could jump and they would float.
Yeah, they'd just be walking along and then they get lifted.
Taking a fall.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Which song is that?
Oh, God.
Oh, wait a minute.
There's a song to go with it all.
We didn't put this up here in our notes, but I think what we should move on to next is interplanetary space travel or intersolar system? I don't know.
Intergalactic.
Planetary. Well, that's intergalactic, planetary, intergalactic. I don't know what to call it. Intergalactic, planetary, intergalactic,
intersolar, interplanetary.
Well, no.
Interplanetary is just going to Mars, for example. But are you talking about going beyond the solar system?
No, I'm saying within the solar system.
Then that's interplanetary.
Yeah. Okay, because I guess that would be intergalactic if it was. So
or it's intra-solar system. It's like intramural sports.
Yeah. Right, intrasolar system or
interplanetary.
Right. Got it. Intraplanetary would be going to other planets and other galaxies.
Intraplanetary would be going inside of our planet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Or something.
That sounds very sexual.
That'd be delving into our planet to find the Lagrange points that are...
So we'd be entering course.
Okay, what?
Coruscant?
What?
Intercourse. Like sex.
Intercourse. No. Anyways, what planet are we going to go to?
So, no, I think we should talk about...
go to the moon.
No, Kale and I had an idea about making the actual Enterprise. Yeah. And so what it would be is... you don't have to be a Star Trek fan, Daryl, just because you're not a Star Trek fan. To like the Enterprise idea.
I'm not denying it.
Just like you hate Babylon 5.
No, he doesn't.
Not really.
Okay,
I never watched it.
The idea is we make a spaceship which is like the Enterprise, and it has living quarters.
I think Babylon 5 is probably pretty good.
I'm listening.
Living quarters, but it's completely it's a whole environment, so you could live there for years and years and years and be pretty happy there, on the Enterprise.
A 5-year mission.
Yeah, the 5-year mission
around our solar system.
But it would be realistic because it could go exactly around our solar system, and I think that's something that could very possibly happen. Is you could have a spaceship that's full of families with scientists and people who just want to explore, and it goes to Saturn one year and explores all the moons and stuff.
Because it would be.
Well, no, it's not to put people there. It's to
like a cruise ship. Then.
It's like a cruise ship, but it's not for entertainment only.
It's scientific.
It's scientific. So we're
like Next Generation.
Yeah.
Instead
cruise
of one
ship and entertainment with military.
And it's not just one spaceship. Let's go to Saturn. And then come back, and the people have to spend years getting there and come back. It's just everybody goes on this one ship. They live there for 5 years, 10 years, whatever it decides to be. And then during that time, it travels to the different planets and makes a stop at each planet and does. Then everybody
that would have to have a whole other sort of propulsion system than what we use. Like chemical propulsion would probably be out of the question.
No, I think it would have to probably be nuclear propulsion.
Yeah.
Or nuclear propulsion.
Well, the thing is, like, if you did it with traditional propulsion, like we have, I mean, we're really good at sending objects.
Fusion reactors. That's what it'll need to be.
Well, we're good with our current technology at sending objects on a course that eventually winds up going out of the solar system, like Voyager.
Yeah.
And part of that is you can, for speed, you can leverage around the planets.
That's kind of the point, though. You should go leverage around this planet. That's our time there.
Right.
Okay, now we'll leverage around this planet.
But
and at the very end, you do that around the sun and you go back in time.
And you start all over again.
But I don't know if there's like an algorithm that could really like figure all that out so that it would be a long-term thing that returns back to Earth.
Yeah. Because they want to get off
having a big power plant on board.
Yeah, I think in the future.
Yeah, it's going to have a power plant on board.
And the other thing, too, is like if it keeps accelerating every time it passes around planets, I guess you could decelerate,
yeah,
too.
You probably have to.
But it's
just like when you watch the TV series. They're going to go into orbit. They'll be in orbit. They'll send things down to the planet and back up, and then they'll move on.
Yeah.
They're not going to take that massive ship down to like Europa or something.
Could you imagine though being the captain? You have to be all.
I do.
Would you be like Picard? This texture starch. Just I am Picard, or would you be Spock? I'm the captain.
I think I'd like to be more of a Picard captain.
I'd be Janeway.
That's only because you could feel your own boob.
Or you know what? Or Kangaroo.
Captain Kangaroo.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, and then someday, hopefully, with warp drive, we will eventually end up on other planets.
That's for the intergalactic.
Planetary.
And hopefully by then we have destinations to actually real destinations to go to.
We've got a lot of potential destinations right now. Hundreds of them, actually.
But at that point, I would hope that if we're going to go intergalactic, that the planet you're going to, or where you're going, is not just a chance that something's there, but like like 90% you know that.
Well, and that's what we're learning now with the planetary satellite thingy, the bobber.
Hubble?
No, there's they sent up the satellite that's the telescope that's looking for planets.
Chandra.
Kepler?
Chandra? Who's
Chandra?
Chandra Kepler?
The Chandra telescope is the one that was specifically to look for new extra solar planets.
Well, what's Kepler then?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Ralph
Kepler
on this one.
is also but Kepler was not wasn't the Kepler mission.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. You guys.
All right.
Stall.
Okay, so going to a planet, just the amount of money and the amount of fuel you're going to use, you want to have for sure.
Okay, I got. No, I don't have it. Keep going. Sorry.
You want to pack an extra nightshirt?
You want to pack?
So
a night?
Yes.
The thing is, we're going to send robots to those planets first. To look at how viable that they will be, and it'll be.
Yeah. And if there's
or at least a planet, not necessarily life, but a planet that more than likely that we can survive on.
Yeah,
Kepler
maybe
was
able to sustain life.
Kepler was the planet one. Chandra was the X-ray observatory.
Yeah,
X-ray observatory. So it's terrestrian based.
Chandra was line blah blah blah. X-ray. No. It's in space.
Chandra's
in space.
Is.
Yeah.
But it's not for planets. It's for just anything X-ray-ish. It's not specific.
X-ray.
I
think it's to look at naked people.
I think it is Kepler that looks for the star.
You think so?
Brightness dimming to tell if planets are passing.
I don't know. What does the internet say, Joey? Kepler. What's it supposed to do then? I thought it was
A
Chandra.
Search for Habitable Planets.
That's it. Yeah. You guys were right. I was wrong.
Ralph.
Chandra is...
Good one, man. It was against my instinct to back you up, by the way. I'm sorry I'm saying that. It feels kind of wrong to say it, but seriously, I'm like...
then it felt right.
Wait.
So
Kale's talking science. Joe's talking... Ralph's talking science. And I'm with Ralph on this one. That doesn't happen very often. Just saying, okay?
But you know when it does happen?
When?
It happens on Access to
Space! What's the time code?
109.50.
Thank you.
So,
Echo.
actually...
That's it.
Hello! Hello! Right, now I gotta put major...
You're an idiot!
It's Ghostbusters. that's ghost, not space. Space Ghost.
Oh, Ghosts of Mars. Horrible movie.
But
what's the best thing
in Access to Space, we're needing to go to Mars is probably something we haven't talked about, but something that's going to be a big deal coming up in the.
Did you hear? They're getting people from Mars 1.
Oh yeah,
but it's a one-way trip.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And they've got like 50,000 people already signed up. They want to do it.
Yeah, one-way trip.
You know what I really think they should?
I'm there.
It has a little more of a risk associated with it, but I think they should find some extremely healthy, like 80-year-olds to go. I mean, why not?
Send prisoners.
Nah.
We're gonna end up with another freaking Australia.
It's like, it seems kind of.
Want to go to Mars for surfing or
like someone with their whole life ahead of them on a one-way ticket to Mars? But I mean, if you have someone who's healthy enough to do space travel and they're already elderly, like,
well, how long's the trip?
Well,
9 months.
9 months,
give or take.
I don't know.
It's 9 months.
I hope that's not taken the wrong way. I'm not trying to be like.
So if you do it on the ship, you can deliver by the time you get to Mars.
Pretty much.
I don't want to be against people of a certain age or anything. I'm just saying that it kind of makes sense that like it's a one-way trip.
Give them a chance,
but there's a lot of people who signed up for the one-way trip and they're young and they're good with it.
But then again, that's a longer mission, so.
So when they're getting, are they being trained to develop a community there, or to do something?
You're going to live on Mars forever.
Yeah. Oh, the training they're doing a lot of long-term isolated trials where they put the people together because it's not only all the health issues.
All right, let's go.
It's
but no matter how much these people plan, it doesn't matter because the governments of Earth are not going to let them go do it.
You think so?
No, because they're going to want to have control of the new planet.
Yeah,
they're not going to let these people go and take and homestead on this new planet.
Interesting. I never thought of it.
No way.
Unless the space people have good lobbyists, then
if they've paid off enough people in government, it'll happen. As usual, only the rich people are going to decide what the hell's going to happen.
Are you saying that's going to be a planet of only union workers?
Union workers.
I'm on break.
Dude, but you have to work the oxygen machine. Too bad.
I'm on my 15.
No.
Mandatory union break.
I crap on the clock.
All right, I think it's time to move on unless we got any more ideas for... No, I'm not going to do it today.
All right, thank God.
1:12:50. Those are like a minute apart now.
Every minute?
Okay, Paul, you are choosing...
So, Joey, how apart are the echoes?
You
might be dilated. Let's see if you're in labor now. Okay. Right.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's
yes,
kind of
Paul.
Okay,
yes.
So we're moving on from Access to Space. Next week, we will have a new topic, which will be brought to us by Paul. None of us know what it is. So, Paul, please tell us our topic for next week.
I would like for us to maybe talk about creativity. And the creative process and what we go through when we're creating new projects. Ralph brought up even how J.J. Abrams is going through writer's block and how that may affect...
Excellent.
I don't know.
Was that one already on our list? I think
it was.
Cool.
I jacked it.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. You jacker!
I couldn't think of anything.
That was one of the ones. I think that was one of the ones I wrote in.
Nice job.
Obviously, I'm behind it.
I stole it from Daryl.
Do you want to watch anything?
About creativity.
Star Trek 2? Star Trek Into Darkness?
If you want lack of creativity, we could either do Barton Fink or Adaptation.
Or Buckaroo Banzai.
Lack of imagination?
No.
Why are we doing
with
lack?
creativity?
Why are you saying lack? What?
No. I mean, like, it's about suffering with the idea of like having writer's block or something like that.
Oh,
maybe.
I thought it was just a creative piece of
Oh,
crap
no
or something.
negative, man. No negative.
Positive.
All right.
no. He's no. Yeah.
Okay, what movies are about vast creativity? Then?
What dreams may come.
Yeah.
Inception. Just about complication. We need to do a whole.
I don't know.
All right, we'll have a
TBA. It was created in somebody's mind. Inception.
TBA.
Yeah, I know, but it just got.
Creativity.
I know. No.
UHF.
Actually, Weird Al is.
He's pretty creative.
Be kind. Rewind.
Oh, that was pretty good.
I didn't like it though.
It's okay.
How about Brainstorm? They were really creative in that.
Well, check the show notes for this movie we're going to think of.
Yeah, well,
I'm
whatever.
in that.
They'll probably just watch the trailer. But, you know.
All right, if you've been
Come
with
and watch my show.
that sounds creepy. All right, if you've been with us since the beginning, you know our email addresses, but we'll give them to you again just in case. You can reach us if you email show@IamRambling.com or put any one of our names in front, and that will also allow you to tell us how much you love the show. And the first person to actually email us will get a pair of swamp ass pants. Direct from
Really?
Yes, direct.
I got two of them.
Awesome.
If some
Hey, watch them first.
Hey, by the way,
But you've got to. By the way, you've got to say that you won that. Like, if we get an email,
and then you listen to this whole episode.
well, I need to give the swamp ass anti-swamp ass pants I wore tonight very well. I feel very nice and dry.
I don't. I feel swamp assed up the ass.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, I think maybe if I get some moisture wicking underwear, it would be top notch.
I'm just gonna get some of those portable fans
whip
and
it.
put them in my pants.
So
We're all going to be doing this naked. In
I think
July.
that we should have something though, like in addition to trying to follow up on the SpaceX tour and all that stuff. I think we need to have a far future follow up where we record an episode as we're riding the space elevator.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
like that.
That sounds
The
good.
space elevator.
And it will sound like this.
Or we'll sing Lagrange the whole time.
Love
Okay.
space elevator.
I hope not with you guys.
Down.
First floor.
Okay, so hey Daryl at Editland.
Oh, hello, Mr.
Hit the
Tyler.
music. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
But where can we find you, Joey?
You can find me at IamRambling.com. Paul.
Find me at I am.
I am Paul.
Music's going. Hurry up, go.
Hey, it's Paul.com.
And you can find me, Cale Anderson, at RossFranceBlogspot.com.
Daryl George, George.com, GIORS.
Yeah. Sunday. We'll see you next week.
Now, Paul, can you please tell us what the topic of this episode was?
Thanks for listening. You can now stop screaming at the open air. Listeners should put their minds back in their upright positions and resume traditional thinking. Find us on IamRambling.com for access to all of our weekly ramblings, show notes, general discussions, and any projects from Incoherent Ramblings. Like us on Facebook and rate us on iTunes. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Incoherent Rambling.
Paul looked like he was in an action movie. He got blown back by
Ramble 01818. This is our 18th episode, and we are cocking.
We are.
We're
We already
Freudian
talked
slipping.
about that. We
Just,
already talked about that.
Incoherent
Wow.
Ramblings is now legal. We are 18.
Yeah. And for being legal, we gave Paul a vasectomy.
Wait a second.
Hey, yes.
Wait a second. This might be 19 because I think I said that already.
Oh, so we're barely legal.
Okay, we'll figure it out. We're either 18 or 19.
Well, just in case. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Incoherent Reveling. This is Rebel 019. And I farted a little when I said that.
Whichever one is the right one.
No, I think you just leave
Welcome
both.
to insert number here.
Cool.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to insert number here.
Insert number.
All right. Today, whatever our number, today we are doing Access.
Can you believe we lost track of what episode number we're on? This is ridiculous.
Well, it was because of those ramblings.
Okay,
Random. Everybody says rambling.
what does Trello say?
All right, Trello says that we are number.
Consult the Trello.
This is not that important.
Okay, right, okay.
Everybody at home knows
ask
what...
Google.
Okay,
We are
okay,
18.
hold on.
We are 18.
Let's ask Google which episode it is.
Okay. Everybody at home clicked on the one with the number because in the future we will have the number. We don't have to talk about it right now.
Okay.
It's not important to the listeners.
All right.
But it's important to us.
But it was a good, funny
We're the only
It's
listeners.
hilarious. All right.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't that
Access. Okay, it puts some echo on this, Daryl. Today we're doing Access to Space.
Is that like Pigs in Space? Pigs in Space.
But before that, we're just going to do a short pre-ramble today, which is going to be our weekly have Joey ask Google. So what am I going to ask?
Dun, dun, dun,
What
Yeah.
dun, dun,
is
dun,
a dingleberry?
Okay, that's pretty good.
Alex
That's
Trebek.
good. Let's see if we can get it.
dun, 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 dun.
What is a dingleberry? Shh. It's recognizing. It's very slow.
Google, you better recognize.
Very vulgar.
Oh, that's horrible.
It just said vulgar.
I heard
Sounded like
that was a sound from Pitfall.
I know, Pitfall or Defender or something.
I got eaten by an alligator.
No, Excite Bike.
It's like bling.
Okay. How about what is a vasectomy?
Oh no. What is a vasectomy? Oh no.
Vasectomy, the surgical cutting and sealing of part of each vas deferens, typically as a means of sterilization.
Nice.
Wow.
I can't get too close to the speaker. It goes.
I
Okay.
don't think
Anybody
I care
else?
for that procedure.
All right.
Don't have one.
Okay,
I do.
who directed Firefly? Let's see if it's smart enough to figure out.
Who directed the movie Firefly?
Actually, the movie was
Serenity.
Damn it! I knew that. Crap! I'm starting over.
Uh-oh. Street cred.
You just lost
Who
it.
directed vasectomy? What?
You have to
Who
give up-
directed the movie Serenity? No! Damn it! Okay, this is stupid. We're not doing
And
this.
it's all like Serenity
Joey,
from
I think
Tenna.
you have to give up your shirt now from that.
I just want to see him half naked. Who are you? Kid?
was
Already seen it.
Okay, Access to
Been there,
Space.
done that.
Let's get going.
Access
Oh,
to
and for Access to Space, our sponsor is the Yavin Pilot Pack from Star Wars, featuring 4 exquisite figures.
Yes.
We have Tyree, otherwise known as Gold 2, R5D8, Davish Craw, otherwise known as Gold 5, Mauler Mitchell, otherwise known as Black 2, and Jack Porkins!
Yes!
Red 6! Porkins!
Known as the first guy to die
Porka
in
what?
Yavin.
Oh, we have a little problem here.
What language do they speak? Yavin?
Yeah, man.
Yavin.
Yavin.
So, Access to Space. Here we go! Access to Space. Okay. Let's start off with, by the way, I'm Joey Shamel, your host. Wow, why are we forgetting to
And I'm Paul Hottinger, sitting next to him.
Now, what we were going to say things that. Why don't we say that at the beginning?
Yeah, no, that's what we were supposed to do, but we got off track.
No, it was like
We're mixed
we'll
up
give them
this week.
the
Our email address is
Oh, at the beginning!
Right.
Yes, that makes
At-
sense. Because you haven't turned off yet, so you might still want to email us. All right. Dude, we're probably still too late into the show. People have already stopped it. We'll never
This
get an
episode.
email. Okay.
Well, next week we'll get you.
Well, we'll be right there.
If you choose
well,
to
you
listen
won't be
still.
here because you're not going to
Welcome to
listen
the
next week. But okay.
All right.
So if you'd like to email us, you can email us at our email address is show@imrambling.com. You can
Not
also put
3, Joey. Well, maybe a few of them are, but
or you can also put our names, Joe, Paul, Kale, or Daryl in front of that, and we will
Booker.
get or booger, and we will get individual emails. Okay, let's move on to.
Yeah, no booger today.
2.
In 3D.
Bounce.
It's not important, dude. Okay,
It's the chips.
we're all big. Wait, we didn't do introductions still. Oh my god, we need an outline. Well, we got one.
Joey,
Go ahead,
Paul,
Joey.
And then Kale interrupted.
Yes.
Email. All right.
I'm Joey, your host.
I'm Paul.
I'm
Sitting
Kale.
here humming.
And I'm Daryl. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
I'm wearing my Dry Star non-swamp ass pants tonight.
Yes. Well, yeah.
We need to make some
gonna-
official Incoherent Rambling non-swamp ass pants that we can wear and give out as prizes.
Wiki,
And give out as prizes to people who actually respond to us.
Yeah, if you email,
For wicking?
I'll give you a game used swamp ass shorts.
Well, we give them
free.
new ones.
No, but game used is more valuable.
I swear.
Sorry about that,
when
guys.
it
I
gets
just got a
really
text.
hot, I'm just gonna put on swimming trunks, and right when the show's done, I'm jumping in the pool.
Supposed to text.
There you go.
Whoa, yeah, it's supposed to be off, but the I-5 Skagit River Bridge collapses in Washington State. People and vehicles reported in water. At least one port ashore. Ooh. Big news story going. Oh, I just dated us again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this will publish a month from now.
Yeah, people will be like, oh, that happened way back then. Well, if it's a big thing, we can say that.
Are you going to tell us about a tornado?
Breaking
next?
news.
That was yesterday.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
why
No,
are those
last week.
people in the tornado alley? I mean, every year, towns get destroyed all along. Why in the hell are people still there?
It's like earthquakes.
It's
Same thing
cheap
happens.
real
Why
estate.
don't they make a better building?
cheap real estate. Yeah, they just have to bring in more trailers, right?
Trailers in Walmart.
Well, I think the chances of getting hit
gotta
by a
live
tornado
somewhere.
are pretty slim.
I
even if
figure
you're-
everyone's going to say the same thing about us when the big
What am I doing?
earthquake happens and all of LA is destroyed.
Yeah.
Well, no, if you live in
Why do you
Malibu,
live there?
you burn,
Tornadoes
then
are
you
every
flood,
year.
and then you
Okay,
slide
guys,
into the ocean.
access to space! Dude, I'm sorry. It was my fault.
Satellite photography can really help predict these kind of phenomena.
Access to space.
Yeah, and that's
from
in
space. See? At least I tried to segue. I guess I tried to segue and wound up with a bicycle.
Dude, Ralph,
What was that?
we're trying to do a professional show here.
Since when?
Yeah.
So I think, you know what I think?
Wait, was that real?
Real?
Okay, good.
Oh, that sucks.
The first 9 minutes
That
should be
sucks.
It's
You're gonna do it. Make it real.
Come on, we can do the intro again.
Wanna
Make
start
it
over?
Make it like 1 minute, okay? But this is outtake material right here.
Okay, okay. We have to all agree. We officially say that this is an outtake and we need to start
Yeah,
over.
we're gonna,
Whatever.
we're gonna
All
do
right,
this
We
on
jumped the
end.
shark.
Okay. Right. So for the really dedicated people that listen to all of this, you're
Oh
awesome.
my god.
But for all the regular ones, here's the real beginning.
Take 2 and action.
Can you do the retake right? Okay. Are we doing silence again?
Okay,
We don't need
Wait,
it.
ready and action.
Swamp
Just
ass
mark
is,
it.
is
All right.
okay. Okay, I'm fine. I'm good.
Think of
Give me 5
Think of
seconds.
the dead people.
Give me 5 seconds. Here we go.